Good afternoon, parents. This is Leslie Blevins here from Enilda Clinic at enildaclinic.com. Today we are talking about why it's important for you to talk to your baby, your infant, your toddler, your preschooler, all the time about everything that you're doing, everything you're feeling, almost everything you're feeling, to basically give them a sense of how the world works. So this is super important. We talk about a lot of social emotional development these days, and essentially the treatment that I'm doing in my office with parents and with their young children is to start instructing their child on language development and pairing language with very specific behaviors so that their child starts to understand and learn cause and effect. And that's the big summary of treatment with a young child. And so unlike an adult who has a much more sophisticated understanding of language and a really good vocabulary, I can't ask a young child to hypothesize and to think through what a situation might be like for them and to imagine how they might feel in various different situations and to anticipate different consequences based on different behaviors, or to even anticipate different feelings they might have if they behaved in different ways. And to be honest, that's even a pretty hard skill for many adults to do. That's why it's hard for us to do diets effectively, to save for retirement, to, stick to a schedule with making improvements on our homes. And so, as you can imagine, for a child who has even less understanding of language and experience with cause and effect, it's especially hard. And so the big skill here is to give your child as much opportunity as possible through teaching them language and pairing that language with everyday actions and everyday emotional responses, a variety of emotional responses, so that they start to learn how the world works within the scope of what language is. And the idea being that as their language is becoming more sophisticated and as they're growing older, they will have a way to attune different levels of their emotional arousal, whether that's anger or anxiety or happiness or excitement or whatever it might be, with language, and they'll have an easier way to modulate it within themselves and also modulate it whenever they're with people. And so to give you for instance, we might have, let's say, a toddler who is just infuriated and is saying like, Sammy knocked down my blocks. I'm so mad at him. I hate him. He's so mean. And they are really just talking about it like it's the end of the world. And so a great thing to do would be to kind of talk through with that toddler about how, they're pretty upset. They feel disrespected that Sammy knocked down their blocks, and, now they're kind of sad that they have to spend some time rebuilding the blocks, and, maybe something they could do is ask Sammy to help them, and I'm betting that Sammy really wants to play with them, and so maybe Sammy will help. And so using all of that language in the process of living out that actual situation is a great opportunity for the toddler to experience an actual lower level of anger. So instead of it being this fury or this rage, maybe it's starting to become just frustration, because now they have to spend more time rebuilding their blocks. And so we pair this numerous times across a variety of different situations, and now this toddler becoming a preschooler starts to understand what frustration is. And so now not the next time, but maybe a year down the road, the blocks get knocked down again. And let's say that this now preschooler is saying, I'm really frustrated that you knocked down my blocks. I think you should help me pick them up, right? And you can tell they're frustrated. They're still expressing that in their voice and in their face. And that's probably a best case scenario for any preschooler to say that whenever their blocks have been knocked down. But what that would represent is that the child is starting to learn that that type of situation warrants a degree of anger that is much, much lower and much more reasonable. And it even warrants a coping skill or an adaptive response, such as asking for help or asking for the person who harmed you to make amends in a specific way. And so through language, we are teaching our children how to cope and how to live in a society and how to take care of themselves and to set boundaries. That starts from birth. And I encourage all of you parents out there to be talking all the time about everything. Whenever you're making their bottle, whenever you're washing dishes, whenever you're changing their diaper, whenever you're bathing them, whenever you are organizing things, whenever you stub your toe, be very mindful about the language that you're using, because they're using that to interpret their world of cause and effect, and also the emotional responses that are appropriate for those types of situations. All right, so that is our learning video for today. Of course, all of this is educational, and so if you have any concerns, reach out to your child's pediatrician, and you can always visit me on EnildaClinic.com. Have a great day.